Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and in this video let's go ahead and fly the analog Baron that's just been released from Sylt to Hamburg, and then we'll take it VFR off again. So unlike the last video where we had a first look into the aircraft's capabilities and tried to examine as much as the aircraft could do, in this one we are simply going to see how it behaves on the normal flight. Also, I have slightly changed the aircraft type in question, so this last time we flew the pressurized Baron, or the P-Baron, and today we're flying the normally aspirated version, so that we've seen both of them in action. Also, tomorrow I will have a full comprehensive review coming on the aircraft, so expect today to be more of a standard demonstration of what the airplane can do rather than a complete review. Alright then. First of all, welcome to everybody who's just joined. Kevin, howdy, from the Lone Star State. Well, greetings, my friend. And I guess especially the US are going to be one interesting place to fly this airplane, right? Anyway, for today, it's gonna be Germany, and I've decided on the route because today we are running a VATSIM event in Hamburg, and so we're gonna bring the airplane over there. And G. Walker, hi there, nice to see you. Alright, so quick first look into what we are about to do then by looking at the Navigraph charts. This is our plan for the day. We are currently standing at Westerland Sylt up here on the northernmost airfield in Germany, and we are going to fly down to Hamburg where we are expecting a busy VATSIM event. Routing is taking us along the German coast via a couple islands, Nordstrand, across the peninsula of St. Peter-Ording, and then southbound via the River Elbe towards Hamburg. We're going to do that IFR so that we can see the IFR capabilities of our aircraft. Also, we are of course using Sim Update 12, and I kinda hope that I'm not getting any scenery disconnects here, but we will see about that. So, very first look at our airplane then. On the last one I didn't really show the outside model because the outside model is primarily the original Asobo model. However, I did figure that the Asobo model actually looks quite good, so why not use our time and have a look at it? We'll start with a normal walkaround up here from the back, and the doors are latched and secure, checking the elevator, making sure everything actually works up here, and then moving on. Overall, I do need to say, even though this is a standard Asobo outside model, the model actually looks quite good. So I remember a couple years back in P3D, this would actually have been an excellent model, and even in MSFS standards, it is still quite a good one, isn't it? Looking up here on the hinges, well, there's nothing in there unfortunately, but I guess that would have been a bit too much. Anyway, the trim tabs, everything is there. My favorite static wick dischargers, of course, there as well. Good details on the strobe lights up here. And again, for being an external Asobo model, this is actually quite alright. Let's also have a quick look into the landing gear over here. Nose gear. Quite a bit of detail in there. Actually, there is not much more that I could potentially ask for in an outside model of the airplane. So, once again, good choice by Black Square Simulation to take this one over. Do note, however, that the Baron, or that the Steam Gauge Overhaul analog Baron relies on the default Baron to be installed, so if you have the standard version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, you are not going to have the default Baron. But that is only part of the Deluxe and Premium Deluxe packages. Okay then, enough look at the outside, let's head over to the inside model. And here we are in the Delta India November Golf Delta once more. For the radio navigation stack, we can choose between different options. So, last time I took the GTN 750. Now, I do figure that most of you will probably use the GTN, so let's use that one today as well. And we're going to use the KX 155 radio for the COM2. Apart from that, standard Baron in here, but you can see some differences to the one we flew last time, in that this one does not have a turbocharger installed, so the sea level pressure is the maximum manifold pressure we have over here. And also we don't have any cabin pressurization, but instead we have the cabin oxygen system fitted that we also saw on the analog Bonanza. So that's pretty much the equipment that we have installed in this airplane. It's been released today for a price of just about 30 bucks, and owners of the Bonanza can get a 25% discount on the Baron. And for those of you who don't have the Bonanza either yet, the Baron is basically a two-engined Bonanza. So you can kind of see how the airframe is the same here, just two engines now. So the Baron is basically a two-engine Bonanza, which really makes that an interesting airplane in terms of performance capabilities, but more on that later. So there is a bundle package available for both for, I believe, 55 bucks, and in my opinion that is really good, or really well invested money, seeing that pretty much everything works in here. That includes the circuit breakers that I'm checking just about now to make sure that there is nothing popped. And all the switches are basically off or auto. And then we have the cowl flaps open, trim is neutral. Oxygen pressure is a little bit low, but we don't intend to climb above level 100 today, so we won't need the oxygen. Also, our avionics circuit breakers are all in. Just to demonstrate, this is what it would look like if a circuit breaker was pulled. So you'd see that little red thing over there, which basically shows you that the circuit breaker is tripped. The tripped circuit breaker may be reset once at the pilot's discretion if it enhances flight safety, but if it doesn't contribute to flight safety, then best course of action if you have a tripped circuit breaker is just to leave it tripped, because you can assume that it has tripped for a reason, so unless flight safety is affected, I would just about keep the circuit breaker tripped if one flows out. And Metal Eye, nice to see you there, hello. Bonali, good evening, hello from actual Flight Route 350, sitting in the Lufthansa 747-8, flying LH716 to Haneda. Maybe the fastest livestream watcher you ever had live. Yeah, I guess so, Konali, so hello there, using the onboard internet, are you? And Localizer36, I love the Black Square aircraft. Has anybody heard any news on their next project? Unfortunately not. I mean, the number of aircraft that are available in the simulator is kind of limited, so I assume that the next plane can only be picked from a couple. Who knows, maybe it's gonna be Mooney or something like that. We'll see about that. I'm hoping for the best for sure. Okay then, let's go ahead and grab our IFR clearance, as we are going to take this one IFR. Master switch is on, avionics switch on. And our GPS is not starting. Why is that? Did I break something? I promise you, I used it on the last flight and it worked fine. And of course, now as we're going live, it's not working. Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to switch to the GNS 530 avionics. So we're going to be using these on today's flight and not the GTN. That's kinda unfortunate, I hope to use the GTN, but then we'll take it from here. Okay then, let's go ahead and get the HOTAS and thereafter IFR clearance.
Echo. Silt information echo. Met report time 1850 Zulu. Expect RNP approach runway 14. Runway in use 14. Wind 210 at 11. Visibility 99999. 0 no clouds detected. Temperature 8. 2.6. QNH 1000. Silt information echo out. Advise on initial contact. You have information echo.
Frame Radar, schönen guten Abend. Delta India November Golf Delta. Information Echo in Sylt. Request Startup and Clearance to Hamburg.
Delta November Golf Delta, Bremen Radar, low information echo is correct. Startup approved, cleared Hamburg, Oldep 1 Alpha departure, runway 14, flight planned route, climb 4,000 feet, squawk 1000.
Delta India November Golf Delta, startup approved, cleared Hamburg, Oldep 1 Alpha departure, runway 14, flight planned route, climb 4,000 feet, squawk 1000.
Correct.
Okay, that's the correct readback. Avionics can go off again for the engine startup. And then let's have a quick check. Christopher, in the comments, hi Emmy, besides the default Baron model I saw pics with winglets added, is that correct? Yes, it is. You can basically switch the different configurations around. On this model I don't have winglets, but there is one with winglets available as well. By default that is on the version that is pressurized and has the turbochargers. Today we are flying the normally aspirated version, as I used the pressurized and turbocharged one on my last live stream. Okay, then let's go ahead. We've got fuel half loaded, that's good enough for us. We've got the fuel selectors turned on. Let's quickly go ahead and load up passengers. That we unfortunately still have to do through the standard weight and balance menu. So let's say we've got 175, and then we'll take a total of 5 passengers on board here, and then maybe a little bit of luggage in the front and a little bit of luggage in the back. And that should be all we'll need today. Okay then, the airplane is loaded up, then we can go ahead and start up our engines. Beacon lights on, props full forward, mixture full forward, throttle full forward, run the boost pumps. We've got positive pressure indication, we're going to give it 3 seconds. Personally I like to use a tiny bit more because that enhances the probability of a good engine start, but don't use too much more, otherwise you are going to flood your engines and they are not going to start up anymore. Okay then. Clear on the right, clear on the left, our propeller area is clear, beacon light is on, let's go ahead, start engine number 2. Okay, good start number 2, we have oil pressure, we have 1000 RPMs, and the oil temperature is slowly rising. Let's start engine number 1. Okay, that's a good start number 1. Oil pressure is there, we have 1000 RPMs. And don't worry if the audio seems rather quiet at the moment. The airplane is rather quiet when you are in idle. Let's open the window, then it's gonna get a little bit louder. Okay, 2 good starts. In flight school we used to have 2 GNS 430 installed, so the setup kinda reminds me of that, so I'm going to use it like that as well. In other words, we are going to use the upper one for the navigation part, and then on the lower one we are going to use the flight plan window. Unfortunately they do take a little bit of time to start up, but that is quite realistic indeed. Kunal, good question there. Would I say this is actually better than the Milvis 310R? Now, to be honest, I haven't decided on that. It is very good. Is it better than the Milvis? Well, I guess I just need a couple more flight hours on that. But it definitely is very good. Okay, let's quickly let it acquire the satellites, and once it's done with that, we'll start entering our flight plan.
There 524 speed 26, we will not turn left heading 2.
So Kelt Gaming, good evening from Arkansas. I recently flew to Denver and realized I have learned so much from you, Emmanuel. I looked at my son on landing and was like, that was a bit of a positive landing. Nice. And good evening to Arkansas, Sir Kelt Gaming.
X-ray contact Bremen Radar 128, decimal 750.
Okay, so both GPSs are started up, they are synchronized with one another. And I am going to use the keyboard input as that makes life a lot easier. So, departing Westerland Sylt, our destination... What's that? Okay, let's clear that once more. Echo, Delta, X-ray, Whiskey. Enter. Why is it showing up twice? Oh boy. Doesn't seem to be my day today. Everything worked perfectly fine on a test flight before the live stream. Look at that! It's entering the entire route twice! Why on earth would it do that? I guess that falls into the category of things you don't have to understand. But that is the working title now, and that is not something that would be the fault of the 310. So that's the working... Holy moly. That flight plan is messed up. Where is it? Okay. Peacock. And we gotta go towards Ostor. Let's see if we can clean that up in the aftermath. Okay, Ostor. And then Rarup. Sorry, Ripso actually. And from there we'll proceed towards Hamburg. Enter. So let's see if we can enter any Hamburg arrivals.
Wing 5, Mike Bremen radar, hello, identified, climb flight level 250. Wing 5, Mike, sorry, make it 240, my fault.
Okay, well, we can enter the stuff. We still gotta figure out at the end then if the thing can fly it, but we will have plenty of time to do that as we're en route. For now, let's just put the stuff in as it is, and it's probably gonna be the 2 Papa arrival, then runway 23, and... oh boy, that's the wrong one. I don't know, I'm constantly confusing everything. Episode 2 Papa, runway 23, load. So, what do we have in here now? Build, Olde, G-Cork, Ostor, Ripso, arrival, ILS, and that's it. Okay, so the problem basically solved itself. Sometimes I would really like to understand why Microsoft stuff is doing Microsoft things. But well, we gotta live with that for now, so with that our startup is pretty much completed. Runway 14, that's gonna be taxi off to the left, and then Papa, backtrack, Charlie, all the way up to runway 14. That was interesting to put it that way, that was interesting. But well, welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Would be too nice if everything just worked. Okay, Crapphone asks above, what is your opinion on the Flight Simsoft Embraer 175? Well, that's a piece of crap. Sorry for saying it, but it is. But I'm probably going to do another video on that thing. Seeing that they should be doing their updates at the moment. Then, Circled Game is asking, Emmanuel, do you have a particular type of aircraft that you really want to have the opportunity to pilot outside the 737? Yes, the Airbus A330, and I will start doing that later this year. ILF, what is the spinning thing on the panel? That's an instrument which tells us which engine is producing more thrust. So now it's rotating towards the right. That means the right engine is producing a bit more power than the left engine. And we can use that later on to synchronize our engines. Delta India November Golf Delta request taxi.
Delta November Golf Delta taxi, towing point runway 14 via Papa. Runway 06 and okay to enter runway 06 Delta.
Delta India November Golf Delta, taxi holding point runway 14 via Papa, runway 06 and Delta. Okay, so as briefed, left off, Mike, so Papa onto Mike, runway 06 and Delta. Right, taxi routing is understood, then let's go! Taxi light on, brake off. We'll probably need a little bit of thrust to get the plane outside the grass over here.
455 Bremen radar, Boeing identified.
That's what I meant.
Boeing 5 mile contact Bremen radar.
And once we're on the tarmac, things should be as normal again. Over here in real life we would get a follow me vehicle to guide us around the area, because as you can see, the parking can be pretty busy up here in Sylt. Especially around summertime. In winter it's not that busy, but you get where this is going. And yeah, for those saying that the plane is rather quiet at the moment, yeah, if I turn that up to a decent volume now, then I will blast your ears away as I'm setting takeoff thrust. So no worries, the thing is getting louder. Okay, we can disregard the stop sign, we're clear to enter runway 06. Strobe light on, clear on the left, and clear on the right as far as we can see. This, by the way, is the freeware scenery of Sylt that you can find on flightsim.to, and it's really recommendable. It's very good quality freeware, and really enjoyable to fly here, especially if you know the real one. But absolutely recommendable. Okay, off to the left onto Delta. Okay, let me show you something where I'm unsure if you can actually see it. If I'm taxiing at a rather high speed and then applying strong braking, you will see the nose wheels starting to skid. So watch that. I'm not sure if that was actually visible through the live stream, but you can really see the nose wheel bump up and down there as a lot of energy is transferred onto the nose wheel as the plane is tipping the nose forward. By the way, funny that I can see both the actual taxi line and the satellite image taxi line over here. That didn't used to be the case since Sim Update 12, so maybe the Sim Update has broken something. I'm not quite sure about that, but we'll see about it. In any case, that is holding point Delta for runway 14 up there. And here we are. Okay, park and brake set. Let's go ahead and start the run-up. So, mixture, full forward, and then we need 1700 RPMs. Cylinder head temperature is already in the green, and the oil temperature is as well. Okay, that is 1700 RPMs. Now we're going to exercise the prop levers. Let it come down to 1400 and observe the RPMs dropping. The manifold pressure has risen a little bit and the oil pressure has risen a little bit. Note that the oil pressure works contrary to the bonanza there in the Baron, as the oil pressure in the Baron actually rises versus the oil pressure dropping in the bonanza. Okay, so that is the throttles exercise. Let's go ahead and check our magnetos. We're back at 1700 RPMs. Delta India November Golf Delta, runway 14 cleared for takeoff, but we need 2 or 3 minutes for the run-up.
There should be no problem, there's no bus traffic.
Roger, we call you when we're rolling. Okay, let's go ahead and check the magnetos. The RPMs are back at 1700. Nope. That was a bit quick over here, but as you can see, if you return them back to the on position, the engine may backfire, but here we are again. So that's a drop of just about 150 RPMs there, that's the maximum allowable. Same on the other side, so our engines are a little bit warm, that is what I can tell already. But let's go ahead and do the remainder of the checks, as long as things remain within limits, that is fine for me. So, left magneto, and that is looking good, back to both. Okay, since we don't have a pressure cabin in here, we can't do, of course, the cabin pressurization check, so let's return the RPMs to between 1000 and 1200, and then we can go ahead and check the anti-icing system and check the alternators. We'll start with the alternators. So note the alternator load down here is below 25, and I turn the left alternator off. You can see left goes to 0, right takes over the load from the left. Right alternator off, both go down, but the bus voltage decreases. Left alternator on, and the left side takes the load of both. Right alternator on, and both are working again. Also, we're going to check the lights, which are all working. Even the lights can fail in the black square simulation aircraft. We don't need that anymore. Then let's go ahead and check the anti-icing system. So we're going to turn them on one by one, and as I turn them on, we are going to notice the alternator load increase. So, on, on, and that all works. And back off again. Then the check the de-icing boots. We'll start with a manual cycle, and we can see the pressure increasing, and it should remain within within 15 and 20 psi, and that's where it goes. Then we're going to check the automatic cycle, and we can see it increase again. This time it didn't reach the 15. Let's watch it again. This time it does. Okay, perfect. So the de-ice boot works. Also, as we turn on the propeller anti-ice, notice the propeller amp's increasing over here. So that's the system checked as well. Then let's go ahead and check our flight instruments. So the QNH, we can simply adjust the altimeters down to 0, as that is the field elevation of Sylt. Here we go. It's a little bit cold in the cabin right now, but I'm going to turn the heater on later on. Okay, weather radar on, transponder on altitude. The initial course is going to be 140. Let's pre-select that. The GPS is not able to move the CDI needle over here, which is realistic, by the way. Initial climb of 4000, that's set. So let's quickly check the autopilot. Heading engaged. You can see the control column turn to follow the heading bug. Rotated through the 180 degree. Flight director turns left. Autopilot turns left. Disengage button works. Second press removes flight director. And then we engage it once more. Full control column in the other direction. And as you can see, I can override the autopilot. Okay, perfect. So that's pretty much everything working in here. Okay. With that, our run-up is completed, and the flaps are going to remain up. We're ready for departure.
Turkish 1881,
yeah, we've already gotten our clearance, so the lights go on. Heater heat goes on, park and brake off, and off we go.
And Air 86 direct to Ska.
Delta India November Golf Delta is now lining up and taking off from A14.
We'll check again to 10 degrees, 11 knots.
Click, click. Okay, we take the full runway available. After all, we paid the full runway as well. And then we're good to go. Take off. Set thrust. Thrust set. The wind is a little bit cross from the left, so a bit of control column to the right there. Eighty knots, rotate. And we're flying. Gear up. Rudder back to neutral. And we've reached the 115 knots, which is our initial climb speed. Passing 400 feet, prop RPMs back to 2500. Set. Okay, and we are out. Let's hand fly the plane a little bit, because it is real joy to hand fly. Delta India November Golf Delta, passing 1400, climbing 4000.
Delta India November Golf Delta, Bremen Radar, hello, identified. Climb flight level 90, passing 2000 feet direct off.
Climb flight level 90, passing 2000 direct Ostor, Delta India November Golf Delta. Okay, passing 2500 towards Ostor, that's pre-selected down here. We'll just wait with the activation.
Bremen Radar, guten Abend, Führung.
And we're passing 2500.
Passing
Enter.
70.
Okay.
50. Inbound.
Course 156. Pre-selected. We've got quite a strong wind from the right hand side, that's why I am seemingly overturning a little bit here, that's just the wind correction. Okay, climbing up nicely, we've got cylinder temperatures in limits. Let's close the cowl flaps, that way we're going to climb a little bit faster.
Of course, we're not in approach yet.
And now that we are flying, let's turn on the combustion heater and get our cabin to warm up a little bit. I'm going to explain a little bit more on that heater later on as we are flying a bit higher. As you can see, the plane got a little tendency to roll to the left here. Let's counter that with a little bit of rudder trim to the right. You can see how the turn coordinator is not really centered as well, so the plane is not that much in trim here. Okay, now I've probably overcorrected a bit. So, just like pretty much any airplane, flying those aircraft here really is a compromise of trimming everything out. And that is not only the elevator you need to trim, but also the rudders. Do note that normally you would not trim the ailerons, but you would trim the rudder instead. I'm going to reduce the rate of climb here to 1000 feet a minute, because we do not have a pressure cabin in this version of the Baron. Keep in mind, we are not flying the P-Baron right now, which has the pressure cabin, but we are flying the normally aspirated one, which does not have a pressurized cabin. So, passing transition altitude, set standard. Set once. And set twice. Passing flight level 57, climbing flight level 90. But as you can see, doing about 1000 feet a minute, we are doing a nice 140 knots. And 139 is actually the recommended climb speed of the Baron. So like that, things are going pretty good there. And Leon, are we flying real weather? Yes, we are.
Climb 29 Foxtrot, Bremen Radar, point identified, cleared null, go to Delta arrival.
Okay, so, plane is trimmed out rather well.
So the 5 unit from flight level 110.
As we can see with the speed change, we're also getting a change in the trim state. Now the plane wants to roll right, so we've got to add a little bit of rudder to the left there. And of course we're going to use the rudder trim for that. Delta India November Golf Delta, cleared Ripso to Delta arrival. Okay, we're going to deal with the arrival later on. For now we'll just keep flying the plane. And since we are not flying a turbocharged version, we've actually got to lean in the climb here. So let's watch the EGT down here, or watch the cylinder head temperature down here on the EDM 760 engine monitor. I'm leaning it right now, and as you can see, the temperatures are rising nicely. There's a little trick we can use, and that is we just go to the horsepower setting, and we just keep it leaning until we reach maximum horsepower. And that way we've got full thrust for the engines. The maximum seems to be around 220 for us right now, so that looks like a good value. In the meantime, I haven't engaged the autopilot yet because the plane is a real joy to fly, and once it's trimmed out, it actually flies really nicely. By the way, talking about trimming something out, do you remember me flying in Sim Update 11 in the previous version and constantly messing around with my aircraft because you just couldn't let go of the controls? Well, that's something that's really improved in Sim Update 12. Now hand flying is a real joy over here. As you can see, no problems whatsoever. I just need some tiny inputs to correct the flight path as needed, but overall keeping my airplane going into the right direction is really easy. Okay, let's update that direct to Ostra once more. Direct, Ostra, enter, activate. Course 157. Okay, that's what we've set, that's where we're going, very good. Okay, we'll take it up to level 90, and once we're up, we're going to engage the autopilot to do the boring part of the flying for us, so that we can, number one, look at a couple of the barren system, and number two, simply enjoy the lovely views out here flying. We're about to cross one of the biggest beaches in Europe. Even though it's probably, at least right now, not a nice place to go swimming. Might just be a little bit cold. Message, approaching VNAV profile, disregarding that for now. Okay then, leveled in flight level 90, as you can see, really nice to fly this, and really easy to fly this as well. Okay, nav, alt is already on, autopilot. Okay, so the autopilot is going to take care of us for now. Let's go ahead and start setting our cruise power. So we'll keep the throttles all the way at the maximum position because up here at level 90 you can see the manifold pressure has already reduced quite a bit. So let's take the RPMs back. We're going to go with 2200 RPMs. Like this. Okay, and then we can lean it a little bit more. And now we're actually going to use the EDM 760 in order to lean the airplane out. And I'm going to show you how to do this now. So, we're going to start with a lean find, and we'll start leaning a ridge of peak. As you can see, we have pre-leaned it already quite a bit. Now I'm going to lean it even more, until you can see the cylinder head temperatures and the EGT up there spiking. So let's go ahead and do that. And then the EDM is actually going to give us a message there.
Lufthansa 5 uniform X-ray contact frame radar 119.525.
Okay, here we go. We've got peak EGT on the left engine and peak EGT on the right engine. So now let's go ahead and increase those throttles until the cylinder head temperature here reaches something in the region of about -50. That's going to be maximum power. Do note that the manual says something between -50 and -100, so anything between that is going to be good. Like we have it right now. Okay, let's see, 190 horsepower is what we're getting at this power setting now. But we want to save some fuel in today's world, so let's go ahead, go lean find again, press the click spot in the middle to hold both buttons down, and now we're going to lean off peak. The previous leaning was basically for most power of the engine, but by reducing that a little bit more, we are able to conserve a bit of fuel. You can see those numbers going down at the bottom of the screen there. And here we go. Okay, last peak is reached. We're going to lean it a tiny bit more. Here we go. Okay, like this, we can conserve a little bit more fuel. As you can see, we now got a remaining endurance 2 hours 55. And looking at the different options we have over there, we're currently covering 6.7 miles per gallon of fuel, and we've got a 522 nautical mile range with what we're flying right now. So that's basically the aircraft fully leaned out, fully prepared. One thing I'm going to do is to turn on the prop sync, Should actually have done that before I started leaning, but doesn't matter now. Okay, and with that, we are up in cruise. Let's quickly go ahead and program the arrival that we've been cleared for, and that was the...
Number 4 Alpha Hotel, contact Bremen, radar 128.
Let's have a look.
750. Lufthansa 4 Alpha Hotel, 128, 750, Dankeschön.
Here we go, they cleared us for the Ripso 2 Delta arrival as far as I remember. And that's gonna be runway 15. Okay, load that up. Loads, and then procedure, we're going to change the approach as well to the ILS 15 with the Delta Hotel 457 transition. Load, yes. Okay, quick check through the routing to make sure that everything is in accordance. Looks good. Okay, very nice. So let's go ahead and prepare for the VNAV profile. We're going to target 3000. Actually, you know what? Let's quickly review this, because we might as well have a quick look into the Navigraph charts, make sure what we are actually going to do there. Ripso to Delta arrival, which is this. And we are going to plan the ILS approach runway 15. And finally we will need this. Okay. So what might be a good point for our VNAV here? It's Delta Hotel 432, 4,000 feet. That should... Actually, if we make that 5,000 feet over here, it should give us a nice... It should give us a very nice VNAV profile. So let's go ahead and program that. Target altitude, 5,000 feet. And we want to reach that at... Let's see, Delta Hotel 434. And then what we can do is a vertical profile of 500 feet a minute. So begin the descent in 29 minutes. Okay, and with that we can now sit back, relax, and settle in into the cruise. Quick look into the Navigraph charts. Right now we are just about here. So we have almost covered half of our flight already. Well, that probably means that the VNAV profile we're getting there is not entirely accurate. Let's have a quick look into that again. I believe VNAV is probably confused because we still got that Hamburg waypoint down here. Let's clear that. Remove yes. And this actually looks quite a bit better. Now it says begin descent in 13 minutes. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now.
Cargo 136 Unicorn, ciao.
Alright, so, as promised before, a look at what I believe to be the biggest beach in Europe. Do note that in the simulator it appears quite a bit smaller than in real life. This is St. Peter-Ording, by the way, in northern Germany. That little airport down there is Echo Delta X-Ray Oscar, if you're wondering. I recently flew there a little bit in summer, in general aviation. In real life, of course. And the beach normally is quite a bit bigger even, but I believe that the water masks from the simulator here are actually coming from the Garmin GPS data, so the GPS probably doesn't care if there's a beach or not. Anyway, that is a huge beach over there, even in the simulator already. Okay, we are slowly approaching some of the clouds over there. But that's gonna be fine for now. Something we can do real quick, determine our true airspeed. We have an outside temperature of -7 degrees centigrade. So let's dial that in. We're 9,000 feet over -7, that's what I've done up there. Now we can see we are flying a true airspeed of about 185 knots over here. And 185 knots is a good cruising speed for the normally aspirated Baron. So for the non-pressurized and the normally aspirated Baron, you can expect a cruising speed somewhere in the region of around 185 knots. If you're flying the pressurized version, you can go to about 240 knots of airspeed. But we did that in the last live stream. So on this one we're taking the slightly slower version in order to show off both.
And Europe 4 gravity descent at rate 3000 feet per minute or greater.
Descent at 3000 feet per minute or greater, Ewing 470.
Alright then, so, then, William asked a little bit further up, prop sync. Yeah, I should have turned that one on a little bit earlier, unfortunately I forgot about it, so I did it afterwards, but luckily I had my engine stabilized by itself, or more or less synchronized by itself already. So, I would like to come back to the question that was asked earlier on about what is that little rotating thing up there, because now in cruise I can actually nicely show you what that is. So let's turn off the prop sync again. Now you can see the thing slowly starts rotating. So it's now slowly rotating with the top going to the right. That means the right-hand engine is currently producing a tiny bit more RPMs than the left-hand engine. You can't see that on the gauges, because they aren't sensitive enough, but the little rotating disc here is going to show you. So how do you correct that? Or do you even need to correct it? Well, of course you should correct for it. And you can easily do that by reducing the prop RPMs on the side where it's rotating towards. Sorry, by reducing the prop RPMs on the left side or increasing on the right side, since this is rotating to the right. Okay, so let's do that. And this is going to be only a very minor increase, so you will probably hardly even see the movement. Do you see that? Just a tiny movement on the prop lever there, and like that you can almost synchronize it yourself. But for the rest of it, that's what we have the prop sync button for. So now that I've turned it on again, watch how this slowly comes to a stop as the airplane synchronizes the two engines with one another. Okay, nice.
Wings London Delta, descent flight level 110 cleared, 2-star null go 2 Delta.
So that is pretty much the syncing of the propellers completed there. Then, John Sleeper, they added a pressurized version? Yes, they did. Have a look at my first look live stream from 5 days ago. In that one I flew the pressurized version. Otherwise, I am also going to release a complete review of the airplane where I'm going to cover all the features tomorrow, and in that one I am going to go into details, and I will be flying the pressurized version on that one as well. And then John, quote, I think I already have the 414, so I think this would be redundant. Well, yeah, it's going to be similar, but of course it is still an entirely different airplane. And the biggest difference here is that in this one you can actually manually trigger failures and stuff like that. So, if we have a look into the failure screen that we can see up here, then first of all you can see my engine condition. The right engine has suffered a little bit already because I did some, let's call it experimenting with it. The left engine is still looking good. I could repair them at any time, but I think it's kind of cool to have them just wear out. And then up here we can basically trigger all the failures ourselves. So currently the global failure rate is set to 1.x, which means it's just like real time. And going into the detailed settings, you can see that mean time between failures of a total engine failure is going to be every 10,000 flight hours. So every 10,000 flight hours, we're going to get an engine failure. Every 30,000 flight hours, we're going to get an engine failure. But of course, we could increase that rate if we want to. So, like here now it's 32x, and now it's going to be 1/32 of that. So let's go back to real time over here. Of course, we can also trigger scheduled failures. So if we do that, we go to the settings. We can arm them here, and we can say after or in which time window we want to appear. So that's quite cool. I don't think that is something the 414 can do. But the 414 is also a great airplane. Both of them really are. And it comes at a price tag of $30, so that is quite alright. But be aware that you do need the Deluxe or Premium Deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator in order to have the Baron available by default, as this one is using some assets of the default Baron. Then Stormy, also gonna be fun for ATC to sequence you in with the jets. Yep, that's gonna be interesting. But be aware that the plane is actually able to fly around 180 knots in the descent, so we can provide some sort of jet-like speeds. Not the best, that's out of question, but it's better than nothing. Okay, we're slowly getting into the direction of Hamburg, so let's go ahead and grab that HOTAS. 124-325. And it seems the voice servers for the HOTAS are offline once again. Okay. That's unfortunate, so we won't get a voice HOTAS. Well, so we've got to use the attack status, and they say expect ILS approach runway 15, runway use 15 for landing, 23 for takeoff, transition level 70, wind 210 at 8, Kavok, temperature 9, dew point 7, QNH 1003, Trump nosing, information Bravo out. So ILS 15 is what we can expect. Let's go ahead and start preparing that ILS approach. As I said earlier on, that's the approach chart we'll need. Then I'm quickly going to do the setup, and then I'll do the briefing with you guys. Okay, 109.55, tuned active automatically on both sides. Let's just quickly go ahead and set up the standby radios. And we need Ulster 15.8 and Hamburg 13.1. So 13.1 and 15.8. Okay.
Delta India November Golf Delta, contact Bremen, radar 119.525.
119.525, Delta India November Golf Delta, tschüss.
Delta, descent flight level 100 with information Bravo. KLM 29 Foxtrot, descent 3000 feet, cleared ILS approach, runway 15.
Descent 3000 feet, cleared ILS approach, runway 15.
Hey Radar, schönen guten Abend, Delta India November Golf Delta, information Bravo, flight level 90, inbound storm.
Delta India November Golf Delta, Bremen radar low identified, information Bravo correct.
Yo.
Bravo,
we've already got our start clearance from the previous sector, so that's no problem.
Descent 4000 feet,
Let's see, Wiener, begin descent in 3 minutes, fair enough.
Bravo, speed 220 knots.
Okay, so, are you ready for the approach briefing? Threats for the arrival is definitely going to be the separation between the other aircraft. We're flying a wake turbulence light aircraft, and we will probably approach behind some medium aircraft, so ATC separation here is the thing. If we start encountering some unexpected turbulence, we will consider that as wake turbulence, and we will take action accordingly. Apart from that, I don't really see any threats for this arrival. So going through the flight plan then, we have the Ripso 2 Delta arrival, which we also have on a chart up here. On downwind, expect vectors to final, speed restriction and altitude on stars are mandatory unless cancelled. But looking at this, we got a couple at 220 restrictions, so we need to tell ATC that we will be unable for those. And we can actually do that now. Bremen Delta India November Golf Delta, we will be unable for the 220 knot restrictions on the arrival. The best we can do is around 190.
Delta Golf Delta, roger.
Okay, now air traffic control can plan on that. So let's go ahead, fly through a couple of clouds here, let's quickly put the anti-ice on. And then, our routing is leading us from Ripso towards Delta Hotel 434. Left turn 330, 4 miles, Delta Hotel 435. Then we have Delta Hotel 455, Delta Hotel 456, Delta Hotel 457. From there we start the ILS approach to runway 15, which we have on a chart up here, 11-2, frequency 109.55, set active nav 1 and active nav 2. Final approach course 150 remains to be set.
123.925.
For the approach, we come from Delta Hotel 457, 4,000 feet
KLM
towards
290
Devot, which we have on here. From Devot, we have the runway 15, starting the island at 3,000. We've got a 3-degree descent profile, and we are able to give them 180 knots until about 5 nautical miles. Then we need to start our speed reduction. Otherwise, the entire thing is not going to work out.
Speed 220 knots, Yoke, for whiskey.
Okay, in case of
Delta
missed
Delta,
approach,
continue on heading 095.
Delta Golf Delta, continue heading 095.
Eine 5 Lima Bravo,
Okay,
descent
095, heading select.
Descent 3000,
And wait clear of the icing conditions. And
Eine
yes.
5 Lima Bravo to left heading
Okay, so
180,
missed approach,
delta
we
left
proceed
approach
towards
115.
3DME from Ulster, DME, and then a left turn towards Hamburg VOR. In the routing we've got Ulster 3 and then Hamburg, and for the conventional setup we've got Ulster on number 2, and we've got
7219
Hamburg on
radar
number 1, and then
identified.
we can pre-select
Information
DME
Bravo,
towards
descent flight level
number 2 as
100.
well. Okay, that should pretty much be all there is. Approaching VNAV profile. Okay, let's request descent. Delta India November Golf Delta, request descent.
Delta Golf Delta, descent 5000 feet, QNH 1003.
Delta Golf Delta, descent 5000, QNH 1003. That, and that's 5000
Delta
checked.
Sierra Lima to left heading
500 feet a minute. Set altimeter 1003.
Delta Sierra Lima,
left.
descent 4000 feet.
That's right. It's getting a bit hot here in the cabin. So let's turn that heater down a step. Okay, 500 feet a minute.
Eine 5 Lima
Keep in
Bravo,
mind we're flying the
Speed
unpressurized
120,
version right now. And then a quick finish of the briefing. Runway 15. We really need to check with ATC if we can either do a long landing,
Delta Sierra Lima, maintain speed 200.
or if we can just or if they want us to vacate the runway here via Echo, and then we might have to taxi Echo and then cross over here since the general aviation party is somewhere down there. But okay, that should pretty much be it for the preparation.
4 Sierra Whiskey, descent 5000 feet, QNH 1003.
Okay,
Descent 5000 feet, QNH 1003, Yoke, for whiskey.
Jungs, 11 Delta, speed 220 knots.
so that should pretty much be all of our preparations complete, and
Delta Sierra Lima to left heading 180.
yeah, that's it. Lucas Amann, why don't I have my pilot ratings on VATSIM? Honestly, because I don't really care about it, and because in order to transfer my real-life pilot ratings to VATSIM, they asked me to send them my pilot license, and I'm not going to send a copy of my pilot license to anyone on VATSIM. That's why I didn't transfer them.
Radar Moin, Lufthansa Charlie Hotel and 4 Bravo on board, passing flight level 160, descending flight level 110, speed 260 in board.
Lufthansa Charlie Hotel,
Alrighty,
radar
so-
identified, continue on present heading, descent flight level
So,
100.
as we can see, they're vectoring us off the arrival. I guess we're probably going over here and then into a downwind somewhere like this.
Charlie Hotel.
Or maybe they even make us cross the
Charlie
field
Hotel,
and take us
speed
into a left downwind. Could happen as well.
And speed 250, Lufthansa Charlie.
But let's see what air traffic control is going to do.
7219
For us.
speed 250 knots.
We can just relax at the moment and enjoy the flying over
Jungs,
here.
4 Sierra Whiskey to left heading 240.
Left heading 240, Yoke, for whiskey.
Delta Sierra Lima, confirm you're on heading 180. Delta Sierra Lima, descent 2,500 feet.
So, Mac Gaming, pilot license and personal ID government number 2. Times are rough. Yeah. Basically, we don't have these
Delta
personal...
Golf Delta, turn left heading 040.
Delta Golf Delta, left heading 040.
Übrigens 11 Delta,
So yeah, in
QNH 1003.
Germany we have a license number, or in Europe, not government ID number. But yeah, basically VATSIM is asking for a full copy of the pilot license in order to endorse the ratings. And honestly, I don't really care. I mean, I don't care if somebody can see on VATSIM that I've got some ratings. They will see that I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. So that's really all that counts.
Descent flight level 100. Delta Sierra Lima, speed 170.
Okay, so 500 feet a minute,
after
cleared
150
altitude
until
5000, that stuff is in.
170 is possible and 150 until 510.
And as you can see, I simply kept my engines at cruise power here, and the plane is doing a nice 180 knots in the descent now. The standard descent speed is around 180, depending on the source it's between 175 and 185, so as you can see that works really nicely. As we're flying the non-pressurized version of the plane, I'm doing a really shallow descent here at 500 feet a minute, but I have a feeling that they might want to cut us short over here.
Robert Tower 12685 Delta.
Ewing 4 Sierra Whiskey to left heading 180, clear LS approach, runway
I somewhat really have a feeling we are on the base already and not going into a downwind like I first expected. Let's
Delta
check.
Golf Delta speed 200.
Delta Golf Delta unable.
Delta Golf Delta speed 190 knots.
Delta Golf Delta, we can only do that at a descent at 1000 feet a minute or more, otherwise 180 is max.
Roger, then keep maximum speed 180 or greater.
180 or greater, Delta Golf Delta. That's funny.
Lufthansa 8 Charlie Hotel, descend 5000 feet, QNH 1003.
Descending 5000
I have a feeling I'm going to give it a tiny bit faster descent here. But I don't want to do too much because we...
Delta Golf Delta, turn right heading 140, clear LS approach, runway 15, descend 3000 feet.
Delta Golf Delta, right turning 140, clear LS 15, descend 3000 feet. Okay, yep, so that was indeed our base lag. But the glide slope's coming alive now. Let's do 1000 feet a minute, I don't want to do any more than that. And then, autopilot off, let's go ahead and fly that stuff
Ewing 4 Sierra
ourselves.
Whiskey, speed 170 knots until 5 miles final.
And that's approach mode on. Approach captured, glide slope captured.
Delta Golf Delta, continue right turn heading 180 to intercept the cleared ILS 15.
Delta Golf Delta, right 180, still cleared ILS 15. Okay. He gave us that vector a little bit late, that's where we went through the center line.
Jungs 9540, Bremen radar low identified.
Hey, localizer is coming back.
And flight level 100.
And here comes the localizer.
87 Alpha, descend via Starflight level 70.
So increasing the mixture a little bit right now.
Ewing 4 Sierra Whiskey, connect tower 126 with an 850.
And I hate that I have to do it, but I need to increase the rate of descent a bit more in order to capture the glide slope. Let's do 1500 feet a minute. For a short time you can do that, but you shouldn't do it for too long.
Alpha, speed 250 knots.
To give you guys some reference, for the rate of descent of the cabin, in an airliner, the target is normally 350 feet a minute, and that is what you feel in an airliner.
Delta speed 170 knots until 5 miles final.
Delta Golf Delta 170 until 5 miles, but we are unable to reduce right now as we still have to catch the glide.
Sure.
I mean, I can increase the prop RPMs a little bit. That is going to add a bit more drag. Yeah, here we go. That's really the best we can do at the moment.
Ewing 11 Delta, descend 3000 feet, turn left heading 240.
Let's get rid of the flight director. I'm going to do that stuff myself.
Ewing 1 Delta, descend 3000 feet, left turn heading...
But I can't see any other traffic flying over there.
The 8 Charlie Hotel, turn correction speed 220 knots.
I guess we're probably the only ones, so separation is probably not going to be an issue. I guess he's got all the other traffic behind us and not in front of us. But that is good, that fits our...
Are you able now to reduce the speed? Otherwise I will turn you back onto a second try.
Delta Golf Delta, yeah, we can give you 170 now until 5.
Roger, make it 160 knots until 5 miles final.
Delta Golf Delta, we'll try 160. Oh boy, he's really screwing us right now.
Ewing 11 Delta, continue left turn heading 180.
I don't want to reduce my power much more because the engines don't like that.
Ewing 1 Delta, turn
And now we're
left
on 70.
180.
But following that glide and reducing speed, that isn't that easy. But yeah, we are in the region of 5 knots of the target speed, so that is good enough for me.
Bremen Radar, hello, Lufthansa 812 flight
Okay.
10.
Then let's quickly go to the GPS as
Jacob
well.
Delta,
to
connect
clean
tower
that up.
126.850,
126.850, Delta, Joe.
Lufthansa 8 Charlie Hotel, turn right heading 1.
A quick look into the GPS. Procedure, activate vectors to final. Tower, more in Delta, India, November, Golf, Delta, ILS 15, speed 170 until 5 miles. Which is basically now. Delta, Golf, Delta, Roger, and you are a little quiet. Okay, so speed is nicely coming back. We're looking for the 152 knots over here so that we can extend the approach flaps. Okay, and we've just about got them. Okay, approach flaps out.
Delta, Golf Delta, ready or check?
Golden Golf Delta, 5x5 now.
Thank you,
Okay, gear down.
Lufthansa 5 Echo Lima, no delay, traffic 2 miles 5. 210
Okay, that's a guy taking off on the crossing runway, but shouldn't be a problem for us.
Delta, expect a late here.
Golf Delta, Roger, and can we vacate Delta 9?
Delta Golf Delta, vacate the right, Delta 9.
To the right, Delta 9, Delta Golf Delta. Okay, landing flaps out. Props full forward, mixture full forward. Fuel pumps on, and that's pretty much the landing checks complete. Okay, 100 knots, we are...
Runway 15.
Runway 15, clear to land, Delta, Golf Delta. Okay, so 100 knots is a good approach speed here.
Welcome in Hamburg. Continue via
A little bit of turbulence, but nothing severe.
Continue.
And that turbulence actually feels quite believable. Flying, you know, close to all these trees and the buildings down there, some mechanical turbulence, as we have it right here, is in the region of what we can expect, so this is quite realistic.
Delta Hotel to Bravo, Hamburg Tower, hello, exit runway 15 and QNH 100 position direct over Chicago back. QNH 100 exit runway 23 and 15.
Okay, I will let the plane float in a bit so that we don't occupy the runway for too long. Slowly reduce power. Eat crap. And here we are. Okay, I'm immediately going to add a bit of power again.
Delta, ILS 15.
Europe, Papa Delta, Hamburg Tower, hello, 1 is departure,
Okay, and now we've just got to keep it rolling until we actually vacate that runway to the right. But we're 10 knots below rotation speed. Flaps up. I don't accidentally want to go flying. Doing a 60 knot ground speed here, or almost 70 as you can see on the GPS. Okay, and that actually looks good. Let's start slowing it down. And off into Delta 9er.
Delta, welcome in Hamburg, taxi General Aviation Parking via Delta 1.
GA via Delta 1, Delta, Golf Delta.
German Air Force for Papa Mike, wind 210 degrees.
Okay, welcome to Hamburg. Off to the right, and then a quick look into the chart to check where we are gonna go. Okay, Delta 1 is basically the taxiway that we have just joined. So looking at this, going to be parking somewhere down here in the 700s, so Yankee, actually in the 800s, so Yankee 5 is going to be our taxiway.
You are indicated 100 feet, confirm. Yes, that's right.
Okay, after landing, flaps up, lean it a little bit. Fuel pumps off, landing lights off, heater off, pitot heat off. Props and should have been off already. Okay. That's the after landing procedures complete. And of course, transponder goes on. And the weather radar is standby. Okay, off to the left. And I guess we are just about going to park next to the other Baron over there. Hey, this looks about fine for me. And here we are. Okay, park brake set, avionics off. And then we've got pretty much all switches off except for the beacon light. Okay, fine. Mixture cutoff. No thanks, GSX. I said no thanks, GSX. And that's it. Welcome to Hamburg, everyone. So, that was our first flight, taking the aircraft IFR. Pretty straightforward, I would say, and really enjoyable as well. What I really like in the aircraft is that we can have them... what I really like in the Baron is that we can do all this back to the school IFR training flights like I used to do them a long while ago. So let's go ahead and do the second flight, and this time we're gonna take it VFR. And we'll take it up towards Heide-Büsum Airport, and then later on maybe on to St. Peter-Ording as well. So this one was the IFR part. I just want to do a quick check here to see if I can get the TDS GTN 750 enabled once again. Let's see what happens now. No, it doesn't want to start up. I do remember though, in the manual it said something that the COM1 switch should be left on GTN 750 when you load the flight, so that's probably the reason why that thing is currently not working. But doesn't matter, we're going to use the GNS 530 for that one. That's going to make things a little bit more interesting as well, as it makes our navigation a little bit more basic. So let's go ahead and start planning our flight on the way back. And this one, as said, is going to be VFR. So Navigraph charts once more. Flight, unload, new flight. Okay, departure, Hamburg. Destination is going to be Echo Delta X-Ray Bravo, which is going to be Heide-Büsum Airport. Add that to the route. And then let's have a look at this. We need the VFR chart. Okay, so we have runway 23 in use for departures. That means we can probably depart out of Delta 8 over here. And then we'll fly Delta 8 with a right turnout via Whiskey 2 towards the Charlie routing. And to do that, we are actually going to follow that highway over here. Is that the A7? I'm not 100% sure about that. So we're going to fly out via Charlie. Let's go ahead, add Charlie as a waypoint to our route. And for the options, please give me a VFR routing with standard charts. Thank you. Okay, so we'll fly via Charlie and then pretty much straight along the River Elbe, over at St. Michaelisdorf and then towards Heide-Büsum Airport. Pretty straightforward. Total distance is 43 nautical miles, so that would be a nice little 20-minute flight over there. And Konali, great stream so far. I'm heading out though, need to catch some sleep, otherwise the jet lag will kill me. Alright Konali, thank you very much for watching, and I'm seeing you on the next one. For the rest of us, this is pretty much our planned departure routing, and on this one I'm actually going to keep the Navigraph charts up all the way, so that we can actually see what's happening. Okay, so as always, we got a call delivery for startup clearance here, since we are at an international airport, so let's go ahead and power this thing up. Delivery is going to be on 121.8 this time. We don't need a refuel, we still got plenty on board, so that makes our life easy.
Lufthansa 87 Alpha, expect late clearance.
Those Garmins really take ages. It would be a little bit easier just to install the KNX 155 standard radio there, but we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it. Here we go. Okay, so 1 to 1.8 to get our startup clearance. Hamburg Delivery, guten Abend, Delta India November, Golf Delta.
Delta India November Golf Delta, Hamburg Ground, moin.
Delta India November, Golf Delta, Beach Baron 58 with 6 persons VFR towards Heidebüsum to leave via Charlie, request startup.
Ja, VFR ist nicht mein Bereich, du möchtest den Apron 121.70, gute Nacht.
Okay, confirm we don't need startup clearance here in Hamburg?
You need one, but from Apron, I am ground, I just give IFR clearances.
Okay, strange way it works over here, but anyway, thank you very much. 1217 Delta India November Golf Delta.
Good night.
Pretty sure that is not realistic, but I
London
don't care.
Delta is crossing 1923.
Hamburg Apron, moin, Delta India November Golf Delta. Nobody knows what's going on. And is Bozzy, I have no idea when that Twin Otter is gonna come out. No idea. Can't help you with that, sorry.
Wings 8 Victor, taxi to holding point runway 23 via Zulu 1 Blue Line.
Okay, so is that controller going to answer us? Try that again. Hamburg Apron, moin, Delta India November Golf Delta.
Radio check for electrical flight, please.
Yeah, please one after the other. Listen to Echo, it's still very bad. I can understand you very hard. It's almost 1.
Metal, he answered me. Yeah, that's true.
What's the other station calling?
Delta India November Golf Delta, guten Abend.
Gestern Morgen auf Hansa 87 Alpha, Alpha 6.
God damn it!
Hansa 87 Alpha. Taxi.
Why is he always preferring the other aircraft? He's ignoring us.
Side Zulu 5 short, Zulu 1 auf Hansa 87 Alpha.
Wings 11 Delta, taxi right, Zulu 1, Zulu 5, hold short of Zulu 1, give way to Lufthansa Airbus HG40.
And crashed at Haslam. Hi Manuel, first time watching you live. Have watched many of your 737 videos and I've learned so much. Just wanted to say thanks. Enjoying the Baron too. Well, thank you very much, Ed. That is much appreciated.
Wings 84 Yankee Tango, request taxi.
Wings 84 Yankee Tango. Stand by, call you back. Back to Jet 1 extra Mike, are you ready for taxi?
Jet 1 extra Mike, F1.
Jet 1 extra Mike, taxi to holding point runway 23 via Zulu 1 and Alpha 1.
Zulu 1 Alpha 1, runway 23 to Jet 1 extra Mike.
Hamburg Apron, Delta India November Golf Delta, moin.
First, your Wings 11 Delta, you're taking the absolutely wrong way. Yeah.
Fifth attempt, he's still only talking to others. Sometimes I don't know what these guys are doing.
So to Echo, still very bad microphone quality, please check again.
And he's not even calling us back. What is that controller doing? And for how long are we waiting for this now?
2 for pushback, break back to that 1 for Mike, Hamburg Tower 126 850.
126 with my 850 to Jet 1 X-ray, my Patron up.
Okay, Apron, Delta India November Golf Delta, radio check.
Same for you. Holly Point runway 33 Alpha 3 and 126850.
Apron, Delta India November Golf Delta, radio check.
Yeah, Delta Golf Delta, radio 5, standby. Your wings 11 Delta.
Stand by.
They take the next stand.
So he does hear me. He just doesn't care. Like so many vets and guys do when they hear anything that is not an airliner. Let's give it 5 minutes, thereafter I'm not going to care.
Left 03 Bravo.
And, difficult.
Let's see if he actually remembers us. You know what? A battery is going to be probably empty any moment, and if that battery runs dry, the stream is over. Let's watch this closely. Down at 23 already.
Alpha 1.
Taxi holding point 23 via Zulu 1 Orange Line and Alpha 1 German 84 Yankee Tango.
And Lufthansa 87 Alpha, taxi to stand.
If that battery runs dry, I'm gonna file a complaint at Vatsen.
Zulu 5, Zulu 1.
Because that means the stream is gonna be over. Because I can't recharge the battery without electrical power here. But yeah.
06 via Zulu 5, Zulu 1.
Does anybody want to measure how long we're waiting already? Now hear that. It's quiet on the frequency. He told me standby. Standby by definition means wait and I will call you. So he's ignoring us. That battery approaches the 22 indication here. I'm just going to start it up. Officially 24 is minimum, and we are just about at that already.
Lufthansa 87 Alpha, taxi to stand 06 via Zulu 5 and Zulu 1. 06 via Zulu 5 and Zulu 1, Alpha.
Oh, let's see if he is eventually going to call us. And G Walker, don't ruin the stream for the sake of this. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Zulu 5 and Zulu 4.
You know what? I'm actually going to call the tower. Hamburg Tower, moin, Delta India November Golf Delta again.
Delta India November Golf Delta, Hamburg Tower, hello again.
Did he also say call you back?
Eurowings 7219,
yeah, he did.
Block the case later.
Okay, he's got good stuff to do though. That is a valid excuse.
So we take the next one after Alpha 6 for 7219.
And 7219, yeah, presenting traffic is now about taxi. You can also go via Alpha 6 if you want.
Okay, leaving Alpha 6, 7219.
Eurowings 7219, contact Hamburg Apron.
Maybe he can do something for us.
317.
With a bit of luck.
Hamburg Tower, moin, Lufthansa Charlie Hotel, Alice 15.
Airborne at Hospital Moberg, flying in direction back to Military Hospital, 1 second.
Okay. Any startup clearance now? Yes? No? Okay, he seems busy.
Lufthansa 812 going ground, sorry about that.
Lufthansa 812, roger.
Hamburg Tower, moin, Lufthansa Charlie Hotel, ILS 15.
Lufthansa Charlie Hotel, Hamburg Tower, moin, number 2, wind check 210 degrees,
Okay, he seems busy.
Number 2, Lufthansa Charlie Hotel.
Oh, is he?
Lufthansa 812, climb to 4,000 feet.
Yeah, seems like it.
Lufthansa 812, climbing 4,000 feet, one-way heading.
Lufthansa 812, please set a reason for go route.
Okay. Apron, let's try to monitor him for another minute, and if that doesn't work, then I just don't care anymore.
Zulu 5, send 1 to 7219,
Otherwise, I'm just going to call delivery again. In real life, we kind of use delivery controllers like,
Delta, Golf, Delta, confirm your VFR.
Delta Golf Delta, hello, affirm.
To Delta Golf, Delta, report attentions.
Delta Golf Delta, we are Beach Baron 5-8 with 6 persons VFR via Charlie towards Heidebüsum, request startup. How long did this take? Did anybody measure it?
Delta Golf Delta, Roger. Active runway is 23 and 15, QNH 1003. Startup is approved. For taxi, call Hamburg Tower 16.850.
Delta Golf Delta, QNH 1003, runway 15, startup approved, 126.850. Ciao.
Yeah, 15 and 23 is active. 15 and 23 is active.
1523, Delta Golf Delta, chirp.
Sorry for the delay.
Oh. Man, we've got our clearance. Can you believe it? We've got our clearance. Okay, I'm done with this. So, if we listen out to the aircraft, we don't actually hear it doing those noises anymore that the cooling engine would normally do. Coming from the outside? No. Okay, in other words, I'm going to assume a cold engine for the startup. Look at that, cylinder temperature is below 50 already. Man, I didn't expect that. Okay, anyway, let's try the cold start procedure, see how that goes. And then we'll see about it. So, I attempted to show you the hot start procedure, but we might have to do that later on when we are doing the VFR part. Okay, so let's prime the engine. That seems about good to me. And then starting engine number 2, we are clear on the right hand side. Nope, is not starting. Let's try that once more. A little bit of fuel. Otherwise, we might have to try the hot start procedure anyway. So that should be about enough fuel. Let's try that once more. Clear on the right. No, it's not starting. Okay. Well, that is good news actually, because then we... Oh no, we got the low volts indication. Please tell me we didn't fuck it. Okay, let's try the hot start. So, mixture, cut off, high RPMs, boost pump high for 10 to 20 seconds. But I'm afraid we have the low voltage indication now, that might have ruined it. Yeah, it's still in the region around 24, so it might work, may or may not. Let's see. Okay, so boost pump off, right mixture, full rich, throttle full open, boost pump on, 2 to 3 seconds. Okay, right boost pump off, and then throttle open half an inch. Okay, let's try the starter. Please come on, please come on. It's coming on. Okay, that is lovely. And the bus voltage is going up again. Nice. Okay, that's what we needed. Perfect. So let's try the other engine. We are clear on the left side. Nope. Gonna try once more. Nope. Okay. Then the left engine may be flooded, actually. Let's do that. So, it says right over there, but we're gonna do it for the left one. So, mixture lean. Props high RPM, open half an inch, starter engage. No. Okay, once more. No? Okay. Well, that is at least not, in that case, let's just try priming it a bit more. Certainly it should not be flooded anymore now. Let's see if that works. No? Okay. Well, in that case, let's go with the hot start procedure. And this is a bit of a guessing game right now. I do apologize for that. But yeah. Okay, so, just got a message from Tower as well if we would read him, but no we don't. Okay, so let's try that once more. Mixture. This is the hot start procedure now. Cut off. RPM's high. Oh, that's the working engine, we don't want to kill that. Then, throttles into idle, mixture on high for 10 to 20 seconds. So let's give that a bit of time. Okay, that should be the 10 seconds complete. Okay, boost pump off, mixture full rich, throttle full open, then prime it for 3 seconds. Sometimes it is a bit of a mess trying to get the engines to start when you don't really know which start procedure to apply. So take that as a lesson learned from myself. Okay, so throttle open 1/2 inch, let's try. And that is a good start. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've got 2 good engine starts, we have oil pressure on both sides, and we have the RPMs between 1000 and 2000. Okay.
Hamburg Tower, mein Lufthansa.
And our radios are working. Okay. So engines are started, and that's pretty much everything we needed.
Things 8 for Yankee Tango, are you able for either departure?
Negative, German wings, 8 for Yankee Tango.
Roger. Mr. Jet 3 Papa Yankee, wind 210 degrees on and off, runway 15, clear to land,
15 clear to land and vacating via Echo 4, Mr. Jet 3 Papa Yankee.
Okay. Interesting, this time it seems to me like the GPS is really starting up a little bit quicker. Anyway, let's wait for the GPS to acquire the satellites, and then we can quickly program our flight plan here.
Supposed to go left at watch of Condor 3 Echo Romeo.
Condor 3 Echo Romeo, after departure, is Ringorder 119 and 355.
155.
Okay, perfect. So, let's see if the flight plan works this time. So, we're going from Hamburg. And then we are going to fly via Charlie. Let's see if we've got the waypoint in here. So that is Delta Hotel Charlie. No, we don't have that. Okay. That's fair enough. Then we just take the destination. That's interesting. What is it doing now? Okay, I have a feeling I broke it. Clear. Let's try that once more. Echo, Delta. Nope. Delta, X-ray. Bravo. Here we go, that's better. Okay, perfect. That is what we wanted. Okay, we should be able to taxi straight out. Departures maximum 2,500 feet, so let's select 2,000 and 300 in here. Perfect. And with that, we should be ready to go.
Takeoff, runway 23, German, at Frankie Tango.
Lufthansa 877, expect late 0.
877.
Hamburg Tower Moin, Delta India November Golf Delta, request taxi, able Delta 8.
Delta India November Golf Delta, Hamburg Tower Moin, 60 Holding Point runway 23, via Delta 1, Delta 8.
Taxi Holding Point 23, Delta 1, Delta 8, Delta India November Golf Delta. Okay, so we make a 180 out of the gate and then onto Delta 1, Delta 8, holding points, runway 6. Next light on, park and brake off, and then to the right is an airplane, so we'll turn out to the left.
Land 15 and please vacate again.
Vacate left, the first one via Echo Farm, at 8.
Okay, we are finally on the way again. Then off to the left, and then next to the right. Okay, that's clear left. We are right, a couple departures over there, but we have to do a run-up anyway. Oops, let's do a little bit of the preparation work already. Runway heading 230 is in. Heading bug can go in as well. Let's do takeoff briefing here. Rotate at 80, climb at 115, maximum altitude 2,300 feet. And so Delta 8 next left. So for the departure we do a straight climb, then a light right turn over to Whiskey 2 and then towards Charlie up northbound on the right hand side of the highway over here. Maximum 2,500 feet, and then Charlie is just behind that little piece of forest there at Pinneberg. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the quick version of our run-up. Extra full forward, and then we need 1700 RPMs.
Crossing 2-3 and after that 121.7.
Like this. I'm only going to exercise the props once here, as they should still have sufficient oil inside them. And then we can do our magnetos. So left engine. Right engine. Left side is dropping quite strong there. That's just about 150, so that's just about in limit. So, engines back to both. Check the RPMs going back to 1700. They did on the left, and now they're coming on the right. Left magneto check. Dropping. Max 150 within 50 from one another, that's alright. We don't need to check the electric equipment, we know that stuff works. The same goes for the anti-eyes and the alternators, so with that we are pretty much ready to go. Delta Golf Delta, line up 2-3 and wait. Okay, that's what I call timing. So, strobes on, navs on, landing lights on, fuel pumps to low, and finally the pitot heat on as well. Okay.
Runner 4, Zulu X-ray expected late 0.
So, weather radar on, transponder on,
812, runway 15.
and we are ready to go. After departure, straight ahead for a little bit, then a right turn into the direction of the highway. Let's see how well or not we can find that. And Street Triple R, welcome as an economy class member on my channel. Nice to have you here. And Boodwin, don't forget to close the window. That's a good point, actually. Thank you very much.
Delta India November Golf Delta, UCTR via Charlie, right turn approved, 210 degrees on an runway 23, clear for takeoff.
Delta Golf Delta, leaving via Charlie, right turn approved, runway 23, clear takeoff. Set takeoff thrust.
Lufthansa 877.
Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. A little bit crosswind from the left. 80 knots, rotate. Positive rate, gear up.
Lufthansa 877, sorry.
115 knots, nice. And we're climbing. We don't really see a lot over here.
Cross now the runway, then on
Hold
the
above
other
ground,
side
drop to
contact
2500.
17 Lufthansa 877.
Weiter 4, Zulu X-Ray, vacate right.
Okay, that's the woods that we can see on the charts, so we gotta do that light right-hand turn over here.
Tower, hello again, Mr. Jetski, Yankee.
And now comes the big challenge of actually finding those highways. I believe it's gotta be the one in front of us. Okay, reducing power a little bit so that we don't climb too fast. I want to keep my deck angle low so that I can actually see the highway in front of us. Okay, so you can see the highway over here. We're following that one. And a rough look at the compass. We're heading 285 right now, and this is going slightly above west, so 285 seems logical. Looks like we are going the right way.
Ryanair 4, Zulu X-Ray, contact number.
Okay, and with that we pretty much know where about we are going. As a quick reference, I'm going to select this as well. Okay, fuel pumps off. And lean the mixture a little bit. Nothing severe right now. 2,300 feet, looks good. Okay, perfect. So we should be leaving the CTR any moment. What are the Navigraph charts doing? What are the Navigraph charts doing now?
Unstable approach due to weird cycles of flight turbulence.
Okay, well, in that case, screw the Navigraph charts. If they don't want to read correctly, we aren't going to use them. We've left the control zone already, we can see that. And we roughly remember where we need to go as well. Lucas Aman, would I recommend the Boeing Yoke? Yes, I would. Okay, then we should have Pinneberg in front of us. We're probably over it already. And midway over Pinneberg then is reporting point Charlie, so I would say we're about clear of the control zone. Delta Golf Delta over Charlie, 2,300 feet, request to leave. Approved to leave, Delta Golf Delta, bis zum nächsten Mal, tschüss. That was just the quick German way to say thank you for flying. Okay, so as we said earlier, we can pretty much continue along the River Elbe, which is over there, until we eventually are going to reach the North Sea, and then we'll just continue along the beaches. In the meantime, we're going to stay nice and low over here. We'll keep the props at we keep the manifold pressure at 24 and the props at 23. Then try to even them out as good as possible, and for the rest of it, we are just about going to use the prop sync. Okay, perfect. That's the thing leaned out. So, for routing, we are going to continue straight ahead. We can still see the Elbe over there, and eventually we're going to meet the North Sea, which is where our destination is going to be. That is of course just navigating by looking outside. If I use the GPS to cheat, I can see that I'm more or less going on the right heading. 12 minutes to run until our destination airport. A little bit of turbulence down here, as you can see, which is something that I do actually quite like. So it is a little bit windy today, not very much, but we can feel a light bit of turbulence, and that actually feels quite believable to me. If we would climb to a higher altitude like we did on the earlier flight, we would get clear of that turbulence. So overall, as you've probably seen my video regarding the new turbulence model in Microsoft Flight Simulator already, there's not really that much more that I can add to it now that I've flown a couple more hours on it as well. Overall, the turbulence feels quite nice. It is not overdone anymore. It is rather a little bit underdone even when we are looking in those conditions where we actually have severely bad weather conditions. But that shall not be a problem for today. Okay, so a tiny bit of leaning there. I'm just going to do it the quick and dirty method right now. Just reduce the mixture until we actually reach the peak over there. Here we go. And that shall be good enough. Also, since we're en route, we can turn off the lights. Lots of different philosophies on these. In my flight school, we turned them off when we were in the en route environment, and that was good enough. Also, let's put that heater on once more. But we don't need a lot of heat there, so that shall be all we need. Okay, since we are flying VFR though, I want to give the Navigraph charts a second try and see if we can get the charts working. And not really, it seems. That is definitely absolutely incorrect what we see there. No. Okay, I don't know why, but the Navigraph charts are not working, as you can see. Trying to change the different informations here, but that's all wrong. Like, there should be coastline over here, and instead we just see terrain all over. Well, I'll consider that Navigraph charts inops, so we'll just fly by visual reference. That's unfortunate, but not a lot I can do about it actually at the moment. Anyway, we should be more or less fine, just following the highway northbound. And this should be the A7 if I'm not mistaken. Might be the A23 as well. But this is normally the highway that I'm taking when we're going to holidays. Because my family got an apartment in St. Peter-Ording. That is why I know the area so well. And that's normally the highway we're driving up north then, once we've passed through Hamburg. About 10 minutes to run. A little bit of turbulence over here, but nothing massive, as you can see. I'm doing some light corrections on the control column every now and then, but you definitely need to do that in real aircraft as well. At least in those low altitudes. You've got some thermals you're passing through, you've got some mechanical turbulence that you're passing through. By the way, in case you're wondering, mechanical turbulence basically means as much as turbulence created by wind that is deflected from obstacles on the ground or from the terrain itself. So mechanical turbulence is basically wind that is deflected from the ground. And flying at these low altitudes, that is definitely something I would expect to see. So those little bumps that we feel every now and then here, they are totally realistic, they add to the feeling and they make flying a little bit more interesting. So all's good with that. Also, we've got the River Elbe on the left side here, and over here we've got the Elbmündung, which is the area where the Elbe reaches the North Sea. And once we are passing that, we are simply going to follow the beaches up north until we reach Büsum Airport. Then, after we arrive at Büsum, we're going to do a touch and go. And we'll take it on towards St. Peter-Ording. And over there we're going to do a touch and go as well. And then we are finally going to do the ultimate challenge, which is going to be putting the Baron down at Helgoland with the 500 meters only runway. So that's going to be the challenge of the day later on, to get the Baron down in Helgoland. Well, and of course, hoping that we've got sufficient fuel for that. But we departed with half tanks, we're down to this now, so plenty of fuel that's still on board. The range of the Baron is actually quite nice, so Even though the fuel tanks look like they are rather low, there are still plenty of gas in there to get us going where we want to go. We can see this on the EDM 760 as well. If we're skipping us through the different options here, we can see our remaining range is still 330 nautical miles. So for the routing that we want to do, it's really only going to be a couple minutes long hops. So plenty of fuel in here for our plan today. Overall, how would I rate the flight model of the Baron? Well, it is a very balanced flight model, but it is a lot of fun to actually fly this. So the plane behaves realistically. This is how I would expect a multi-engine aircraft of this category to behave. Like, you can see that we are encountering a bit of turbulence. We need to do a little bit of rudder trimming here depending on the different airspeeds in order to keep our airplane going straight, which is absolutely what I would expect a plane like this to do. And overall, it flies really nicely, and it is a real joy to fly this. That goes pretty much for anything that black square simulations have produced. But the Baron especially is something that is more and more finding a place in my heart here. Just because it is an aircraft that I've always really liked, but also because it is an aircraft that, an aircraft that just hits the right spot. It does a good speed at 180 knots, it does a good climb performance, it has a very good avionics set, provided it works, but normally it does. I really don't know why it's not on this particular live stream, probably just because I ignored the part in the manual that said if you're using the 530 at the end of the flight, put it up to GTN 750 if you want to use it on the next one. So I ignored that, so I probably wrote my own airplane here. Nothing we could blame the developers for. Anyway, this plane is really a lot of fun to fly, so that's something that I really appreciate. Noji is asking in the comments, what did you do your single engine training in, Amy? My single engine has been in the Cessna 172, where I did my PPL on, and then later the CPL I did in the A210 Aquila. And finally, for the single engine IFR, I flew the Piper 28. And I flew both the Archer and the Dakota. The Dakota was previously still VFR in my flying club. And then later IFR in flight school, we had the we've had the Archers. That was a great lot of fun to fly, actually. Especially those Archers with the glass cockpit installed, and the Aquilas as well. Even though I never really got warm with the Aquila, because the Aquila had a max takeoff weight of 750 kilos. So you see right now what the wind is doing with a 2,500 kilo airplane. Now imagine what it's doing at a 750 kilo airplane. Plus that I did that stuff in April and May. So really hot days, strong thermals, therefore strong turbulence, and I just couldn't get to like those Aquilas. I mean, they were well equipped, but and of course they had constant maintenance stuff. So one of them had an electronic engine monitor installed, and that is actually quite a story. The thing had an electronic engine monitor installed, and we knew from the logbook that on previous flights the thing eventually just lit up all the warning lights simultaneously, and they couldn't quite figure out why in the maintenance, so they just, cleared the plane to fly again and just wrote a note to the pilots. And then eventually, of course, we departed Essen-Mülheim, Echo Delta Lima Echo, which is where I did my training. We departed that airport and flew down south to Mannheim, and then we flew it back north around the Frankfurt CTR, but through the Cologne CTR. And right as we were going through the Cologne CTR, we were going at 1,000 feet above the River Rhine, and pretty much in the middle of the city, just above that river, 1,000 feet above the river, we then got the engine monitor lighting up pretty much any warning that there was. Now, luckily, we read our logbook, so we knew the thing was faulty. But imagine we had not known that, and imagine you fly the plane and eventually, just 1,000 feet above one of the largest cities of Germany, right above a river, all of your engine warnings go on the same moment. I can tell you, that would have been really scary. Had I not read that logbook, I would probably have declared emergency straight away and started a direct approach towards Cologne Airport. But luckily, we were briefed on that, so we knew that those indications were faulty, and indeed we continued back towards Essen-Mülheim, no problems whatsoever. Just those engine warning lights illuminated all the time. But yeah, that was quite an experience to make there. And overall, I'm still really happy with my... I'm still really happy with the experience that I've gathered flying primarily the Cessna 172. That is still my favorite airplane to fly. And if anybody is now saying, so please fly the WB Sim Cessna 172, I'm probably eventually going to do that. But the Cessnas that we had in our club were actually slightly different. We had the Cessna 172 with a T-Lot diesel engine, pretty much the same that you have in the DA42 here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So that was a little bit of a different story there, flying that, and overall it was great fun though. And I am actually thinking about renewing my single engine license this summer before I start the A330 type rating, because at the moment I still have that rating, the single engine piston rating, on my license. However, it is expired at the moment. But if I do my A330 type rating and I need to get a new license after that, then the expired rating is going to be removed from the license, and that creates a whole lot of issues when you try to renew it. So I'm just thinking about going back to the club and just renewing that Cessna 172, or rather renewing that single engine piston license, just so that it doesn't get lost when eventually I need to renew my entire license due to the new type rating that I'm going to do. So that's something I'm thinking about at the moment, but I still have to think about if I'm actually going to do it or not, because of course it is quite expensive to do. I mean, we're talking just another 1,000 euros here. Right, so down there is Heidebusum Airport. So let's about join the traffic pattern. The pattern goes up here, 800 feet altitude. Let's also start slowing the plane down. It's going to be a rather short final over here, but these airports just all have that in common up here at the North Sea area. Okay, there is our airport. Let's start turning downwind. Oh, flaps approach. Gear down. Pumps on. Lights on. And that's it. Okay. Landing flaps. Let's get the speed down. Busum traffic, Delta India November, Golf, Delta and downwind runway 10 for touch and go. Okay, let's turn base. 90 knots, looking good. Just got to be careful not to lose too much speed, as we are definitely going to encounter some turbulence as we're going over the wind turbines over here. And of course we better not fly into them. Okay, over there is our field on the left, and that's going to be a pretty short final. So let's get that airspeed really back to the 90 knots. Okay, start the final turn. Of course we're going over the houses, which normally we shouldn't. But that is going to be fine for now. Here comes the turbulence from those houses. Okay, here we are. Thrust idle. Okay, flaps up properly with full forward. Keep it on the runway, please. Set takeoff thrust. Thrust set, 80 knots, rotate. Okay, positive rate, gear up. .400 above ground, prop back to 2500 RPMs. Okay, starting the upwind turn, we'll fly across those farms over here, and then we are going to leave the traffic pattern towards St. Peter-Ording, which is just a couple minutes further up north. Not going to climb too high, 2,000 feet is gonna do for this one. Okay, 2,000 is pre-selected, so let's not climb too quickly, that's not gonna be good for the ears. Okay, fuel pumps off, lights off. Okay, so that is the that is Büsum down here, the city. Now we're just going to fly up one peninsula further north towards St. Peter-Ording. And here we are, trying to take it somewhat next to the villages down there. And let's get it into quiet mode here. RPMs back to 2000. Prop sync is on, a little bit of leaning. Okay, fair enough. That should be all we need. Flying across the Eider Sperrwerk over here, which is one of the largest barriers that you have in Europe. I don't remember if it is the largest, but it's certainly among the largest. So then, traffic pattern altitude at St. Peter-Ording is going to be 1,000 feet. Let's start descending to that, and then we'll take it out to the ocean over here, and then it's going to be the third bay from here, where we are going to start turning bays. And once we are done in St. Peter-Ording, where we are going to do touch and go as well, we're going to take the plane out to Helgoland, and over there I will put myself to the challenge to see if I can put it down on the 500-meter runway. Spoiler, I'm not 100% confident I can, but we will see about that. It will depend on the wind and how much of a head or crosswind we are going to have. So let's see about it. It's certainly going to be interesting. And Street Triple R, not much space there for touch and go. Yeah, indeed. You know, all those runways that we are approaching right now are rather short. The one we just had was about 850 meters. St. Peter-Ording is a bit shorter as far as I remember. It's 750, and then Helgoland just about 530. And in Helgoland we're going to do a full stop landing, not a touch and go. There is just no space for a touch and go over there. But the full stop is going to be challenging enough. Okay, let's see. That is bay number 1, bay number 2, bay number 3 over there. That is where we're going to enter the downwind at 1,000 feet altitude. Let's start getting the speed back. Engines back to 1,500 inches. We have a sea breeze blowing at the moment, so in St. Peter-Ording we're gonna go for runway 07, and that is going to be a very, very tight final approach, even tighter than the one that we have just flown. So you can be in for something very interesting over there. Actually, the first time I went to St. Peter-Ording as a child, I was there on an open door day, and I did a little flight there with a local club member in a Cessna 150, and the way we came in, I was like, holy moly, what are we doing here? That was so much fun. Okay, but now we are gonna do that stuff ourselves. Fuel pumps on, lights back on, mixture forward, gear down. Okay, over the bay, and there we've got the wind turbine, so the field should be just over there. 1,000 feet pattern altitude looks good. There is the field. Let's turn into the downwind. Flaps full. And we can start our descent already. Over here we've got a trailer park. That is what we're aiming for in the downwind. Okay, turning base. And I'm actually going to use my Tobii eye tracker for this. It might be a little bit difficult for the live stream to follow up with it, so my apologies for that, but I just need my hand on the throttles right now. Okay, here we go. Down there is our runway. Let's make that final turn. Coming in a little bit high. Overshot a bit, but that is alright. We can correct that. Okay, engines idle. Okay, takeoff power, 80 knots, rotate, and over at the airport fence at maybe a couple of feet. Okay, I've turned the Tobii off again because I know that the live stream cannot cope with the frequent changes of the angles that I'm looking at. So I just needed it on this one because I needed my hands on the controls. So my apologies for that. Actually, I am still using my Tobii eye tracker a lot when I am not live streaming, so when I'm just flying for fun. But during live streaming, it is always a little bit of a problem with my internet speed just not being able to keep it up. Okay, anyway, that was our second touch and go gun done. Now let's go out to Helgoland. That VOR should be on 16.3 if I'm not mistaken. Yep. VOR Delta Hotel Echo, 30 nautical miles. Here we go, set a Warthog. And about western course. 260. Okay, we are just going to stay clear of all the beaches, because tourists generally don't like the sound of aircraft engines. Lean a little bit here. And pumps off, lights off, but I was just about to say I'm going to call ATC for flight following as we are heading out the open ocean. However, it is 10 minutes past 10 already, so I do have a feeling that they will be closing literally any moment. Anyway, let's give it a try, see if we can get any ATC here. Should be 123925. And that is going to be the last flight of the day as well then. So we've got a couple of clouds there. Let's make it 4,500 feet.
And Lufthansa 5 Echo Whiskey continue on Unicom 1 to 2. There's Malay 2 weiter.
Okay, we are staying well clear of the beaches here. That is good enough. Flame Radar, schönen guten Abend. Delta, India, November, Golf Delta.
Delta India November Golf Delta Bremen. I'm closing shortly.
I call you shortly. Okay. So, climbing up higher, so we've got to lean a little bit here. To go, let's start the level off slowly. And here we are. Okay, quick personal checklist here as we are heading out the ocean outside of gliding distance from any remaining airport. Fuel showing a quarter full, but we pretty much have the same in the tanks right now that we have used on the entire live stream earlier. So as you can imagine, that is plenty of fuel to fly out to Helgoland and even to get the airplane back in case we do not have any fuel available over there. Okay, so a little bit of leaning here, reducing the mixture until we get the peak and then a tiny bit below that. This is pretty much looking good. Okay, maintaining 4,500 and out we go. 10 minutes to go. I've tuned the VOR that's located pretty much at the airport that we're heading to, so we've got 10 minutes to run over here. Got a tiny headwind, as we're doing only 150 knots of ground speed, but that is fair enough. So the plane is pretty much in trim now, very nice, and that's all we need. So, if you've got any questions about the Baron, then now is the time to ask him, because after the landing in Helgoland, that is probably going to be a full-stop landing, and after that I will definitely have to finish the live stream. My girlfriend is probably already watching the stream as well, as we didn't talk today yet, and I'm pretty sure she's waiting for me to finish this, so that I can give her that call. But we're gonna take those 10 minutes to bring it over to Helgoland and park it, so if you're watching, I'm gonna call you in like 20 minutes. Okay, and now you guys tell me something about me communicating with my girlfriend over my YouTube streams. Ah well. Okay, we can slowly see Helgoland coming up in the front over there. By ship from Büsum it takes about 3.5, 4 hours to get to Helgoland. By plane it takes some 10 minutes or so. But those trips are really expensive. If you charter a plane to bring you from here, St. Peter-Ording, or from over there, Büsum, towards Helgoland, those charter trips are easily going to cost you $450 for a return journey. If you keep in mind that you are flying only for about 15 minutes or so, that is quite expensive if you ask me. $450 for 30 minutes of flying.
Yeah, but I'm closing shortly, so at 370 is...
okay, that guy says he's closing shortly. Well, then we're gonna leave the ATC frequency again. Goodwin, is there any indication of the wind in this plane? There would be if the GPS was simulated correctly, but if you look at this, basically over here, if we go to the density, altitude, true airspeed, winds tab, in here, if you fill everything out that you have currently, then the plane is going to calculate the wind for you. But, as you can see, I can't be bothered filling that out right now, so that is what you have. If you're using the GTN 750, then you can of course do the same thing. And apart from that, the only thing you can do really is find out the true airspeed. So we've got plus 2 degrees centigrade right now in 4,500 feet. Let's set that. So plus 2, 4,500, something like this. So we're doing 190 knots true airspeed, and we're doing 153 knots tracking towards the VOR while we are straight inbound to the VOR. So we can predetermine that we've got about a 35 knot headwind at the moment. And seeing that I am slowly drifting to the right over here, it's going to be something 35 knots wind somewhere from the front and to the left. So something like a southwesterly wind at around 35 knots, something the likes. That is what we can determine just by looking at the flight instruments. Metal Eye, how's my real-life 737 flight going? Did you recently have a great moment or so that you want to share? Indeed I did, but that's going to be a topic for a separate video. That's not going to be something to mention on the side of a live stream. Sorry. But you will love those videos. And Metal Eye, where's the guy with the Cyrillic name that we can't pronounce? Didn't see him for a while. Yeah, true that. Nikolai, wasn't it? I do seem to remember that. Okay, let's slowly start our descent towards Helgoland already. We can see the 2 islands coming up over there. The first one is the Dune, which is like a little sand dune, which is where the airport is built on. And then you've got the island behind that. And on the island there is a search and rescue station on the left over here. We're probably gonna make a quick trip around just to show you. And then you've got the island itself. For anybody of you who comes from the area, I can really recommend visiting Helgoland in real life. It is a nice little island to stay there for a day or two, and just to spend your vacation on a high seas island. The only German high seas island, actually, ever since we traded Madagascar for Helgoland. And yes, indeed we did. Originally Helgoland used to be British, and they called it Heligoland. But at some point during the German Kaiserreich, the Germans traded one of their colonies in Africa, which, as far as I remember, was either Zanzibar or Madagascar, one of the two. And we traded that for Helgoland with the British. So that's how that island got German. Fly to live. Stayed on Helgoland for 3 hours. Yeah, I've had that as well a couple of times. I guess you probably did one of those ship trips for a day to the island, did you? So I did that a lot of times as well. Just last year, actually. Last summer in June I've been there. But by ship, not by airplane. And Felix, indeed it was Zanzibar. Okay. And Clint Davis, that doesn't sound like a good deal. Yeah, true that. I would prefer to have Zanzibar as well, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you think about what happened in history after that all the colonies got disbanded anyway, then I'm probably rather happy to have Helgoland now than having nothing now. Okay, quick setup for the approach. Altitude 600 feet for the traffic pattern. We're going to keep it a little bit higher initially in order to make our little tour around the island, because it is a really fascinating island to look at. And we're going to keep the plane at 2,000 feet initially for that, in order to stay above those large migrations of birds that you can find over in Helgoland. A bird strike over the open ocean is the last thing that you would really want. But that's going to be fine. Metal Eye, challenge, flap 0 landing. To be honest, I'm happy with you if I can bring the thing down on that 530 meter runway with the flap full landing. maybe eventually at some point a flaps up landing, but not today. I've almost crashed it on my last live stream. I don't want to absolutely crash it on this one. But yeah, getting closer and closer to the island. What we can see already is the only wind turbine that you find on the island. Of course, that is not the only source of electricity on the island. The island is connected by cable to the north to a big wind farm that you can just about make out on the horizon when you are actually standing down up here on the cliffs facing into that direction, but it's some 90 miles off or so. Actually, 90 is too much. Probably it was 90 kilometers, not 90 miles. Anyway. So this is going to be the airport where we will be landing on. We can see 3 runways. 2 of them are definitely too short, so that runway and that runway, no way. But that runway here should be quite okay. So we'll aim for that. Apart from that, let's have a quick look into the main island of Helgoland. And we can already see the lighthouse up here. Then we've got the Funkmast. The wind turbine. Down there is the swimming pool of the island. And over here is the only one beach. But then we've got what's probably the most interesting thing for the tourists, which is what you can see over here, that freestanding rock, which is the so-called Lange Anna. It used to be connected with the island, but during an earthquake, the top of that actually broke off, and that's why that thing is standing free now. And as far as I know, it's the largest freestanding rock in the world. Okay, I'm descending a bit, but that is alright. Let's try to get our power back so that we don't go too quick here. The western coast of the island looks really, really impressive when seen both by ship and by airplane. Okay, over here is the search and rescue station of Helgoland. And over here, obviously, the harbor. And this is where the tourist boats are docking nowadays as well. Okay then, that's pretty much the only German high seas island. So we're in a left downwind, runway 33 for landing. I just hope that 33 is correct with the winds, because there is no actual META published for Helgoland. Going down to 600 feet, which is the Patron altitude. Okay, nice. Then let's start a base turn. Speed is coming back nice and slowly. Should be a little bit careful maneuvering so close to the ground here. Okay, past 152 knots. Approach flaps. Fuel pumps. Lights. Gear down. And there's our runway over here. A little bit hard to see right now, but if you know where it is, you can spot it. And there it is. Okay, landing flaps. Overshot the turn a little bit. Looking at the waves, we might be facing a tailwind here. If we do, that is not good news. But let's see. I'm going to move my view upwards a little bit. And here's the challenge. 530 meters of runway. No time to flare. And here we go. Okay, we made it. Nice. That was a challenge. But I really had absolutely no room to flare there. If I had flared for a little bit longer... Well, what did we have? 50 meters to spare? 50 meters of runway? So yeah, I'm glad I made that one. That would have been embarrassing to mess it up. And looking at the windsock, we made the right decision on the runway as well. That is always good to keep that in mind. Alright, so off to the left here, then we'll taxi it to the apron, and that's gonna be it for this live stream. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Tomorrow I'm going to release my full-fledged review on the Analog Baron, where I'm going to go into quite a bit more details about flying this aircraft, because it is really a marvelous thing to fly. For now, I would like to thank you very much for watching and hope that you have enjoyed this one. If you did, then do let me know in the comments below. And once again, thank you for flying with me today. So with that, we are going to shut the airplane down, and then I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. And I see you all on the next one in hopefully the next couple of days. For sure, have a look at that review that I am going to publish on this Analog Baron tomorrow. And until then, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'm looking forward to see you all again very soon.